Welcome back, guys. This is going to be part 4 of Pandemic Definitions 101. If you haven't seen the first 3, go ahead and check them out. And I will be filming 4, 5, and 6 today. As I say at all the top of my videos, none of this is meant to sensationalize anything. It's actually just meant to empower you so that when you hear these terms on the media, you actually know what they're talking about. This is information that I looked up for myself for further clarification, and I just thought that it would be helpful to the general public. So here goes. Sorry I had to bring you in very, very close today because my mic decided that this was the week to stop working. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about medical stuff in parts 4 and parts 5. And in part 6 later this afternoon, I'm gonna be talking about quarantines, lockdowns, medical martial law, things of that nature. So let's get into it. All right, vital signs are measurements of the body's most basic functions such as blood pressure, pulse, heart rate, body temperature, and respiration, breathing rate. And vital signs often vary by age. So those are gonna become important as we work our way through this list. All right, and so the next couple are the stages of, we have suspected, severe, critical, and that's what we're gonna look at now. So mild condition means that these patients have a manageable response to the virus, which may include cough, fever, shortness of breath, or other symptoms, but generally speaking, it means that they do not require supportive care, which we will get into in a minute. Serious condition means vital signs may be unstable and not within normal limits. The patient is acutely ill, but usually conscious, and indicators are questionable. Critical condition, more severe than serious condition, that means that the vital signs are unstable, not that they may be, but that they are unstable and not within normal limits, and that the patient may be unconscious and that the indicators are unfavorable. So that is different from serious condition. All right, recovered means that they no longer test positive for the COVID-19, and there is strong speculation at this moment that they are still infectious and that this virus may have the ability to lay dormant in the body and for it to come up positive on a later test. That is just something that's being circulated right now, so I thought I'd throw it in there. All right, and we hear this a lot, morbidity and comorbidity, so I wanted to cover that. Morbidity is just the incidence of disease, okay? And while morbidity refers to your level of health and well-being, mortality refers to your risk of death. So that is different. A comorbidity, and we hear this a ton, oh, this person has a comorbidity of diabetes or COPD, and that means the simultaneous presence of two chronic diseases or conditions in a patient. So if a patient already has a pre-existing health condition like diabetes, COPD, or anything like that, then you have COVID-19, on top of that, you have a comorbidity. So that's what that means. Mortality is the state or condition of being subject to death or the relative frequency of deaths in a specific population. So we've all heard this term, mortality rate getting thrown around. All right, death seems pretty specific, but it is defined as the cessation of all vital functions of the body to include the heartbeat, brain activity, and breathing. So there's no life support, time of death pronounced. Okay, official numbers are numbers which are officially reported by government agencies, whether that's to the press or to the public, and I would encourage everyone, regardless of whatever country you live in, to take those numbers with a grain of salt. I personally live in the United States, and I do not feel comfortable with the numbers that are being reported here. I very much hope that those numbers are accurate, but I think that in a lot of places in the world right now that those numbers are not being accurately reported. So again, take those numbers with a grain of salt. All right, HIPPA laws, and the only reason I'm touching on this is because, again, here in the United States, there are certain states, Florida, New York, and probably some others, where there are suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19, but it's not being released to the press or the public, and they're standing behind HIPPA laws saying the patient has a right to privacy. So I wanted to touch on what that is and what the byline is that actually should allow them to divulge that information. So HIPPA laws, what HIPAA means, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and it says the HIPAA privacy rule protects the privacy of patients' health information, but is balanced to ensure that appropriate uses and disclosures of the information may still be made when necessary to treat a patient or to protect the nation's public health and for other critical purposes. So by my understanding, if you have a potential epidemic or a pandemic on your hands, then HIPAA would be out the window. Okay, active cases are cases which are open and where the outcome is unknown. So death or recovered would not be inactive because we know how they panned out. New cases are cases which are newly identified or diagnosed. So every day we hear South Korea has X number of new cases, or any place in the world, and that's what that means. All right, and that is going to be it for this one, for part 4. As you guys know, anything that's related to this virus is being pushed way down in the search results. So if you found any of that helpful and you want to share it, I would appreciate it if you do so. If you want to leave a like or a comment or a question below, I'm happy to get back to you. And if you want to be notified when I upload new videos, which again today will be 2 other times, just go ahead and click subscribe and turn on that little bell notification. I hope that was helpful to you guys. I just, you know, it's helpful to me. It makes me feel more empowered and less kind of in the dark when I just know exactly what they mean when they use these terms. So hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys in part 5. Bye.